All right, finishing off day one of the Cryptonairz KOL Summit, we have Crypto Gems 2025. Our panel's full. Here's Matt Case back with us. We have Crypto Billy, Dan, Matt Case, Calvin Waite, and we have the great Lady Trader Raw finishing off today's event. And it's just been totally an incredible day filled with so many amazing panelists. But I want to give the panelists a little bit of time to introduce themselves and the best place to find their information. Why don't we start off with you, Crypto Billy? Why don't you go ahead and give us a quick intro?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for allowing me to be on a panel. My name is Crypto Billy. Been in crypto since 2017. I've been in securities since the 80s, actually. Licensed security advisor back in the 80s. I host and I'm the co-founder of Billy Go Tales, which is an X-based every Tuesday at 9 p.m. And I'm looking forward to talking to the whole community here about the gems. So thanks for having me.
Love it, man. Great to have you. I love your energy. It was great to have you last panel. Dan, a little bit about who you are and where people can find you.
Hey, Sensei. Thanks for having me. So, yeah, I came into crypto in 2021 at the top of the market as an investor, learned about the tech, realized there was a problem with a lot of the shady business that goes on in crypto. So I'm the founder of a Telegram bot called TTF Bot, which is designed to help to provide information for people for due diligence, give them security information on the tokens they invest in, and keep an eye on their investments and monitor the blockchain while sending them alerts. So I'm trying to make the space a little bit better, provide people knowledge, and give them some ammunition so they can trade safer and better, smarter.
I love that, Dan. Thank you so much. Remember to like and share the space out. We want to get as many people on here as possible, so thank you so much. Matt, who are you? Where can people find you?
Hey, what's going on? My name is Matt Case. I've been in Bitcoin since 2017. Pulled my entire 401k out from Raymond James. The investor was like, no, what are you doing? I went deuces, and I haven't looked back. I've been self-custodying, stacking sats, and dollar cost averaging ever since then. I've been to many conferences around the world for different projects. Work exclusively right now with Quantum Expeditions, mining Bitcoin in West Texas. Also a contributor and analyst with Quantum Economics. You can find me on the X app right there at Matthew Ryan Case. I'm also on the LinkedIn, and I'm not using any other social media really that I know of unless there's somebody with burner accounts impersonating me. But I love being part of the community, and I've learned so much from just being in spaces in general. So I learn from listening to smarter people like you. So thanks for having me.
Man, I love your energy. Last space, it got me through it. So appreciate it. Man. Calvin, what you got, man? Great to see you back. Oh, Calvin is just in transition, so maybe he can't talk. Lady Trader Raw, a lot of people know who you are, but maybe for the people that don't, a little bit about who you are and how people can best follow you.
Thank you so much. It's been such a great day today, co-hosting this event with you, Sensei. I'm losing my voice now. I am a Lady Trader Ra. I am a key opinion leader and also a Web3 consultant. I work with a lot of founders and teams, basically helping them with marketing, activating KOL campaigns, and also helping them with fundraising efforts, and basically a super connector in this space. So really excited to be a part of this discussion today.
It's a true honor to have you and to be working with you. And thank you for helping me co-host this first Cryptonairz KOL Summit. Calvin, are you at a better place where you can intro yourself, or should we just jump into it? 3, 2, 1. All right, well, let's just jump into it. So we're here to talk about Crypto Gems 2025. What is that? Kind of basically we're going to be discussing what cryptos are best to hold in this bull market. So that's what we're going to be discussing. Crypto Billy, you have this spaces where you're weekly talking in and out about different crypto projects. What are you currently holding? Like, what is at the top of your bag hold list in 2024 going into 2025? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, of course, Bitcoin, ETH, Chainlink, DOT, Matic, Pol. But I also have quite a bit of Kaspa. I like Kaspa.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we've had a Kaspa team on our space, which is great. It's really informative. We got to dig deep into that protocol. Love what they're doing. Think that that's going to be a great bag to hold on to for the future. It did have a little dip yesterday, came back some today. So, Yeah, Caspa's a good one. And then I have just a whole big bag of miscellaneous AI plays that I'm looking at, a lot of AI plays that I'm looking at. So pretty much all over the board. But like I said, on the other space, I have 3 different bags. I have my HODL bag, which is in my ledger. I have my trading bag, which is totally separate accounts, separate monies. And then I have my moonshot bag. So I keep those kind of separate. But the ones in the ledger, those are the ones that I'm holding on to.
Got it. So you know, no matter what happens in the market, good or bad, you won't sell those. You're going to hold on to those for the next, what, 5-10 years? How long's the plan there?
Oh, no. So I'm more of the mind, look, I wrote 2021 all the way down, man. So I got in early and I wrote it down. So I learned my lesson. Some of those like Caspa, I won't sell that. That's going to be the next cycle. Some of those I will keep. Most of those, with the exclusion probably of some of the Bitcoin, I will liquidate probably Q1 to Q2 of next year, ladder down, DCA out of them.
All right. Appreciate you answering that. So let's go over to Dan. Dan, I'm just trying to it's not working too much. Let me just, I don't know what's going on with Calvin. Dan, what are you currently holding in the crypto market, and why are you currently holding that? And what is your plan for the bull market? Are you planning on selling everything and then rebuying when the market bottoms? What's the master plan here with your portfolio?
So I also have quite a diverse portfolio, similar to Billy, between the large caps, between short-term plays, trading plays, and even high-risk plays. So I'm pretty mixed up in my portfolios. On the large caps, the blue chips, I'm holding the main ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink. I got some Kyle Swap, and a few others, even some Pepe. I believe they'll all be really strong in the bull run. So those are long-term holds where it's going to be more of a bit of a cycle, a little bit like Billy said. I'm going to be laddering. I ladder in and out accordingly. I try to stay balanced, never all in or all out of any play. But coming into the end of next year, I'll probably definitely be 50% laddered out at that point. Going on the narrative of the cycles. Then there's a lot of plays that I look at that I think will survive at least this cycle, that are building good stuff, and if I feel they can be sustainable. And of course, there's the high risk. Well, when it comes to the high risk, I still play it safe. I look mostly for startup companies that I feel are going to deliver or have delivered.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of monetizing it and providing stability to the investment, to the investors, to the chart, and good management of the project and the funds.
Yeah,
so that's what I look for mostly, but I'm pretty much all over the place.
And it's so hard, right? You could find the perfect project with the perfect use case with a great team, and there could be like a hack or something that's totally out of your control that you can't foresee coming, right? It's a crypto space, so
100%.
You're taking these bets on kind of what you think is the future, what people are going to adopt, and really you have so much control, and you give a lot of control away when you invest in any type of crypto asset. So thank you for breaking it down. Dan, Calvin, thank you for joining us. I know you didn't get to intro yourself, so maybe a quick intro about who you are and what you're holding. All right.
Cool. Can you hear me okay?
We got you, brother.
No, you got me for a few seconds anyway. Yeah, so my name's Calvin Waite. I've been in crypto for a long time, about 12 years or so. And I kind of trade everything. I've traded full-time for about 7 years, and done fairly well over the years. But yeah, the things that I'm looking at, just because I feel like alts will really run. Normally alts run in cycles, about a 4 to 6 month cycle. And alts have been down for about 7 months now. So it is 7 or 8 months even. It's been a long time since we've seen a long pullback, especially during a bull market. So I've got a nice variety of coins spread across everything, just waiting for the next big move to the upside. I think everything will really benefit. It'll be dark. I kind of call it dartboard season. When Bitcoin hits all-time highs, everything will be popping. So it'll be hard to miss.
I love that, and I think that speaks highly, to kind of what market we're getting into. Some people have never experienced the bull market, and this is going to be new to them. And some people, this is maybe their second or third bull market. So it's really good to have that mix of people on the panel that can really give you that. Matt, what are some of your favorite projects that you're currently holding? What are you looking at? What narratives are you in? So many things that we can ask you, but like really kind of what's your projects and what are you taking a look at?
Well, if I did hold any Bitcoin, I'm sad, but here's when I had that boating accident, and I don't know if you can see it, but that was my boating accident right there, and so I lost it all, which is really sad. But that's so that way I can show folks I had a boating accident. But if I did have any, I would be holding massive bags of Bitcoin because I'm an OG from 17. But if I also had other projects that I would be looking at, man, I like a lot of the deep in plays and the AI tokens as well. Render, Sui, IoTex. I think Litecoin under $100 is a smash buy. I think there's lots of other great little projects out there when you get into like that deep in RWA. There's so much though. I think just for my big position, if I still had any, it would be Bitcoin.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, man. And sorry to hear about the boating accident. You didn't have your words on a.
I didn't have the waterproof ledger. They didn't come out with that yet, Sensei. So I was like,
ledger. Oh,
yeah, it was my ledger. And I thought everybody said to take it with you boating. I thought that was the whole thing. But this was back in 17, 18, pre-COVID. We didn't know what we were doing.
Man, I'm so sorry to hear that you went through that. That is a hard lesson learned. That's a probably $1 million.
Seriously, the one lesson I think that folks, you just kind of mentioned about the bull market earlier, Sensei, is some people it's their first, their second. This would be my second. And the one thing that, and not to brag or whatever, just the fact is I've been very fortunate in the industry not to really get involved with rugs or degen projects that much because I am kind of an OG maxi, right? But the biggest mistake that as a retail guy coming into it and learning and growing and becoming part of the community is not taking gains at the top. Yeah. Not selling the top because you think it's just going to NGU forever, right? And oh my gosh, but Lady Trader Raw will tell you take gains. And she's one person I'm taking note of. She mentioned in the prior space, she's kind of got a target of like 2015 of kind of exiting out and DCing out and taking some gains. Yeah. A lot of other people are saying that is a target as well. So when I hear brilliant people like Lady Trader Raw and other folks kind of putting that out as a target for September 2025, then I'm kind of thinking, hey, that might be the time to take some gains as well. So that'd be my only parting comment right there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the market coming to an end and when people think that's going to happen. That's really, really good for you to bring up. Thank you so much. Lady Trader, there's probably you and Calvin probably own the most amount of crypto assets on this panel. But, in your massive bags and what you're holding and all these different assets, what are some of your favorite projects that you think are going to outperform the rest of your current bag? Like there's got to be your top 5 or 10% of projects. I'm really trying to figure out what are those projects that you would recommend to other people to research.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, obviously, in my investment portfolio, I love Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of the major coins and altcoins, all of that. But then one sector that I'm super bullish on is AI right now. There are a lot of sectors I'm bullish on, but AI, because I think there's so much innovation that's happening there. It's insane. My favorite projects right now in AI sector, Twin Protocol, that's upcoming. I actually serve them as a vice president of community and influencer relations. So lots of stuff that's happening with their upcoming TGE. And they are in the news. Like if you just Google Twin Protocol, go to news, you'll see they are in actually national news. And so it's a great project to be a part of. And then Paul AI is another pick that I have. I've been working very closely with them. I was their first advisor. So been with them for a very, very long time. And they are doing a phenomenal job. Ledger AI has actually just recently launched, and their CEO has sold his previous company to FTX for about $300 million. And so it was a very well-funded team. They didn't even need to do fundraising of any sort. They were very well backed. And they have, their team is absolutely phenomenal. Ex-Binance person on the team, and somebody who's worked closely with, or actually worked for the city of New York as a deputy director. So there are some great people on that team, and they are building something phenomenal. There's so much alpha there that I can't even share publicly right now. I am working very closely with them as an advisor. And then, so those were my AI picks, of course. And then if you move on from that to actually look at some other sectors as well, I mean, look at RWA, there are some pretty awesome plays there. And then what I look for really are projects that not a lot of people are talking about, right? Because that's where the alpha is. So you want to find those projects early in gaming and metaverse. Mochaverse is my top pick for sure, because Animoca brands, I mean, they are doing so much, and I think it's going to be a major play for this bull run. And I'm super bullish on what they are doing and what they are building. You want to be a part of that ecosystem. I own their NFTs, I own their token, and they are doing a great job. So yeah, those are my top picks.
Man, so much good information there. I'd love to run through and just get a quick overview of what people are holding. That's incredible. Caspa, I know somebody mentioned Caspa. We actually called Caspa in Cryptonairz at a half a penny. I think Caspa went up to like 20 cents or something, did a 4,000x already in this market. I know it's down a little bit, but what a great asset that's been over the last year and a half for people to just make incredible gains on. The bull market is kicking off, and everyone has a different opinion of kind of when that's going to end. We were meeting earlier today with the panel, and we were talking about maybe mid to fall or late 2025 is when people should probably be out of what they're currently holding. If this is your first bull market and things are just going crazy, you probably think the music won't stop and you're just going to continue to hold. That is probably going to be the wrong advice to take. Take it from somebody who's lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, on the panel, by holding on to those assets into when the bull market ends, you are always getting these different shifts. And so when let's go back to this. When we're talking about regulation and things to come, are we going to continue to run in different cycles, or do you think we're just gonna kind of, as the world adopts cryptocurrency and things come to a massive kind of head here, are we just going to have one massive market that continues to just keep expanding? Matt, I would love to get your opinion on what you think is going to happen once we really have a fully regulated crypto market.
I think it'll be, be game on 24/7. I want to say, go back to Larry Fink. I'm not a big Larry Fink BlackRock guy, but Larry Fink finally woke up and realized everything will be tokenized. Real world assets, everything will be on the ledger. So I think it's going to be game on. It's just a matter of time that we get that awareness, that education, and that adoption through, especially to our political figures. And that's why I think folks like, Satoshi Action Fund and what Dennis Porter's doing over there, helping to raise awareness, adoption, and education. But at that point, like Larry said, everything's going to be tokenized. It's going to be game on, and it's going to be 24/7 like it is with crypto already.
I love it, Matt. I love it. I love the energy. Billy, what do you think? It's like once we reach a place where the market is fully regulated globally, and we have another billion people come to the crypto market, where you think we're going to still move in cycles, or do you think it's just going to be one mega cycle that just doesn't stop? Talk to us about that.
Well, everything comes to an end, man. I've seen that in my lifetime. So right now we're still in the cycles. We're going to be in the cycle, in my opinion, until the cycle breaks. But mass adoption occurs. We understand how we start with infancy. We go all the way up to saturation. That's a big, long span. When does that happen? I'm not certain. Again, we understand the ETFs really added billions and billions, and I think 55 billion, close to that, into the marketplace. We have all these first, right, for Bitcoin. So it is a little different, right? However, the cycle for me is still intact. I still think we're going to run. That's my opinion, not financial advice. But I do believe, to your point, I do believe that at some point in time, this is going to become just like another sector, just like the finance sector, and it's going to become less cyclical than it is now. So that's my take on that.
Dan, I'd love to get your thoughts on regulation, and when do you think that'll come into play? And once it does, what happens to the crypto market? And do we keep running in these cycles, or do these cycles just become one mega cycle? Like Crypto Billy was talking about, everything comes to an end eventually. But what are your thoughts?
On the regulation side, I think there's going to be a lot of bouncing around of chaos for the next 5 to 10 years. I don't have much knowledge on the regulation side, but it's just chaos. On the cycles, I don't think it's gonna. Well, I'm a very strong believer of the cycle based on history. So, just because everything always seems to align, when Bitcoin halving kicks in, the cost of mining a Bitcoin, in theory, we'll just say it doubles depending on costs. Therefore, that plays into the price action. So that's why I'm a strong believer is it always falls on an election year, which also plays a role in the markets. And also other factors are repetitious. So I do believe in the cycle. I just think as the liquidity increases, which is what's been happening every cycle, it'll just get less volatile. And there will be a shift at one point. So Bitcoin will always go through these similar waves, in my opinion. Although for the other emerging markets and utilities, there's still not a lot of connectivity to the Web2 world and adoption for other use cases. And that's going to keep coming in. So that's going to be all over the place, in my opinion, based on the integration of the just the real world, whether it's real world assets, whether it's like Ledger AI that later Rob mentioned, they're developing AI, but as a B2B model to integrate with Web2 companies. And as more and more of these type of utilities come in play, there'll be winners and everybody else will just kind of go with the cycle. But there will be a lot of oddballs. So I think it's going to shift. It's going to change. Liquidity pools will get thicker and therefore less volatility as far as cleaning up the mess with regulation. Hopefully that just keeps improving over time. But where there's money, there's going to be chaos until they can, it's a worldwide thing. It's like the internet. It's worldwide and it's hard to regulate, but with time, certain protocols are put in place.
Yeah, no, and I think Givers Gain mentioned Gary Gensler not having growth with Gary Gensler at the helm. I think I was really disappointed because when I originally heard Gary Gensler was going to be the head of the SEC, I thought it was going to be good for the crypto market because he taught it at MIT, and I was like, hey, maybe this guy can help where we've gone so wrong in the past. And man, was I completely wrong about that? And I think crypto over the last 5-6 years has been very politicized by Republicans, and I think Democrats were very much against crypto. But I think now as they're seeing it's more of a bipartisan issue because 50 million Americans own crypto, and I think a lot of people that were against crypto before, whether you're on the left or you're on the right, are re-looking at crypto with the second set of eyes. Matt, what is your thoughts about the current state of regulation in the country? And do you think whoever the next president is, do you think we're going to get another the head of the SEC that actually will help the crypto market grow in the future?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope that we do get a new head of the SEC. I think that's going to happen no matter what administration comes into power.
Yeah.
I think obviously some of the regulation right now is good. What I'm really kind of waiting and watching is whether it's the Safe Banking Act or whatever this bipartisan legislation that they have in Congress right now coming through. But the big part of that is stable coins and CBDCs. Now you hear a lot of rhetoric and politicians will say whatever they want to get themselves elected, right? So I'm still not confident that a CBDC is not somewhere in the works because I believe that is a big thing that we all need to be on the lookout for. So as far as regulation, I think they try to pull that in maybe, in a piece of legislation, or maybe there's something that happens financially, another black swan event that happens where all of a sudden they have bank bail-ins and all your money is taken. And then all of a sudden you get replaced with, a CBDC that's less half. And the big problem I think a lot of us on this panel know, because you guys are smarter than me, is that these CBDCs will be programmed with expiration dates. And that then deters anybody from saving, period.
So yes, some parts of CBDCs will be programmable. I mean, I think when you're the government and you're giving out money, whatever programs that's through, right? You could put an expiration date on that money being spent, right? That way someone doesn't just collect it over, 10 or 20 years, right? I think if you're injecting capital into markets through stimulus, I think putting, that on a program, well, hey, this expires in 3 months, go out and spend it. I think that actually can help markets. Yeah. And so
I see what you're saying.
CBDCs, this would have probably been a really good panel to have because I think that it's a really good discussion. Maybe that's for the summit number 2. But let me bring in Calvin. What are your thoughts? Where as far as regulation goes for the crypto industry, and how long does it take for adoption?
Yeah, what's funny is it used to be years ago that Bitcoin was for the corrupt and for the people that were involved in drugs and everything else, or at least that was the perception. And now it is completely swapped. Anyone that fights against Bitcoin, you can tell is corrupt. So, you know, the Democrats are getting a lot of heat for just being so anti-crypto, but in reality, it's the Uniparty that's anti-crypto. And anybody who's happy with the status quo, whether they're on one side or the other, they are the ones that are nervous about Bitcoin, and they're kind of that the the makeup is coming off, in other words. So you can see whoever's still in power or deeply in power that's fighting against crypto, you can really tell that they're a sellout. And it's just really kind of pulling away the mask of who's, you know, who's legit and who's trying to be in control. So the world is changing. And as the world gets more younger, like as younger generations get older and replace some of the old ways of doing things, politicians are starting to notice that, wait, there's a huge demographic that's pro crypto. We need to get on the right side of this. And in a way, it's actually cleansing some of the corruption that we're seeing. And I think it'll continue to happen. So as the future marches forward, I absolutely think crypto will get more adopted and regulation will be much.
I think you said some really incredible things there. I think what you have is you have money in politics, and you can never actually trust what a politician says. You need to watch what they do. I think that goes with both sides of the aisle. I think when it comes to the crypto industry as a whole, I think, you know, it is now a bipartisan issue because you are getting a younger generation in, like you said, Calvin. Boomers are dying off when that happens. Their money is going to their kids. Their kids are a younger generation. Those kids typically will own cryptocurrency or trust, decentralized finance in some way. And I think what you have is you have banks in politics, and banks are that verified third party. And when the introduction of smart contracts, right, really kind of threatens some of these bigger institutions, and these institutions definitely will put their thumb on the scale. And I think that's what you've seen with the pullback of certain regulation that we pushed for in the United States over the last few years. Chuck Schumer, who is the head of the Democrats in the Senate in the U.S. Congress, has talked about some type of regulation coming before the end of the year. And I thought, man, wouldn't that have been sweet if it wasn't an issue that people were going to vote on? If we could have just passed something bipartisan before the election time. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. But Lady Trader, where do you see the crypto market going? Over the next few years? Do we get regulation, over the next 6 to 12 months, or is this still like a pipe dream for Sensei and other people that think it's coming?
Yeah, absolutely. I can chime in here. So what I think is that I think regulations are definitely coming. I do believe it could be in 2026 because that's going to be the bear market, right? And so bear market usually has a lot of, a lot of FUD and, lots of stuff that's happening. So, but I do believe, I know there was a question earlier that you were talking about, and that was whether the cycles are going to continue or are they going to stop, right? I do believe that I think cycles are going to continue until Bitcoins are fully mined out, which is not going to happen in our lifetime. And what I am also thinking is that while the cycles are going to continue, we are going to see less and less ROI and less, bear market conditions. And so I think the percentages of how much Bitcoin is going to rise is going to decrease, and how much Bitcoin is going to crash during the bear market is going to, stay low as well. And so those are my takes on that one. And I also think, and we are already seeing it, the ROI potential has already decreased this bull market, because we are seeing some projects already raising funding at over $1 billion market cap, and it's like, what the heck is happening here? Where's the next Solana? And so we need, and this is really why a lot of volume and liquidity is happening in meme coin sector right now, because people are tired of these high valuation projects, because the ROI potential is so low, whereas you could just go and buy a meme coin, invest a Solana in something, and then you're going to turn that into 1,000 souls and so on. Obviously that's gambling and not a very smart choice. But but I think the cycles are going to continue for a very long time, until at least all the Bitcoins are mined out.
Well said. I couldn't agree with you more on that. I do think we are going to experience, cycles for quite some time. Regulations probably still some time away, but well said. Do you think no matter who wins the election, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, we're going to get regulation, or by 2026, or do you think one party is still stronger than the other when it comes to crypto regulation?
I would think that maybe if President Trump was to win, maybe those regulations will be, a little bit more delayed. But I mean, 2026, if the bear market hits, I mean, a lot of people are going to lose money. And that's going to bring in a lot of pressure, no matter who wins, to start more regulation. Because, oh my God, these pension plans have lost money, or these municipalities have lost so much money. And so that is going to bring the discussion, because when it comes to talking about, losing money, no one wants to do that. No one is going to talk about how those people were not educated on historical data. They did not take profit. They actually bought the top. No one is going to talk about that. Everybody's going to talk about regulation. Hey, we got to fix it. People lost money, and then sad stories about how somebody lost their retirement. I mean, that happens. And so obviously that's going to bring pressure no matter who is in the office. And I think one party would be a lot more more forceful about bringing regulation than the other. I think President Trump may be like, hey, we need to look at some other reasons why this happened, versus if it was Democrat, it's like crypto is evil, let's ban it. That's my take on it. I know there will be people who disagree with it, but that's my take on it.
No, I mean, you're always going to have somebody that says, the sky is blue, and somebody else to say, oh, the sky is orange, right? You're never going to have people that agree 100% on anything. And I think the world of crypto is become very politicized, and I think in some ways it's become pretty toxic. And I hope that whoever wins, regardless of what their party colors is, they put together smart regulation, right? Because it's not just getting regulation passed; it's smart regulation where it allows for companies to build and adoption to happen. And I think a lot of countries are waiting for the U.S. to pass some type of crypto regulation so they can adopt the same policies, because they're going to want to, value to flow across borders seamlessly. Anyways, just looking back at this, Calvin, did you have any current thoughts on the the crypto market regulation? Any thoughts on that before we move on?
Just not so much. Just that the United States is just very far behind.
Yes.
The United States is a slow-moving animal, and it was built that way. I mean, it was intended to be that way so that people couldn't rush into stupid policies. But it's painful to watch the rest of the world just moving forward like crazy and absolutely leaving us behind. I'm actually working with some lawyers right now on a project, and everywhere besides the United States is an option. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. Well, especially in Europe, right? Because you have MiCA coming into effect at the end of this year. Switzerland, Japan, Australia, you have a lot of countries, Canada, that have moved forward with crypto regulation kind of full steam, right? The UAE, right? Prime example, I think there's like no taxes on crypto in Dubai till like 2050 or something insane, right? Where a lot of people are moving to places like Dubai, not Costa Rica. There's another place that's part of the U.S. What is it called? Is it Costa Rica that has zero taxes on crypto?
I think Bhutan does that. I know Bhutan has like
Bhutan?
zero taxes as well. And I'm not sure what Bukele's doing there in El Salvador, but yeah, you're right, Sensei.
Yeah, it's just I think when it comes to the rest of the world, I think you are seeing certain countries move forward with crypto, and I think that's forcing other countries to take notice. I haven't heard anyone bring up any type of like XRP, XDC, XLM. Are any of you guys on the panel holding those asset classes? Matt, let's go to you.
I will tell you first and foremost, when I got into Bitcoin and all this in 2017, XLM was one of the first ones I really started getting into heavily, because I love Jed McCaleb and his history and whatnot, obviously leaving Ripple, cross-border payments. And at that time you could stake and you could use inflation payouts through XLM. And so that was a great way to stack Bitcoin for free. I think though, when you look at what Stellar is doing, they would be the one that I'd like to see do better. I think XRP, obviously, we're seeing a lot of movement in the traditional financial world where they're looking at maybe now ETFs. And I think that obviously now with the SEC thing that's gone away, we're probably going to see them move for an IPO. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised next year that that they do file for an IPO. I'm not a big fan of, XRP. God bless you if you have bags. I hope you do well. I want everybody to do well. But me personally, I understand it's the banker's coin. I don't really own any myself. But if you own some, I hope you do well. God bless you. I want to see you on the moon.
Since you brought it up, no, I'm just kidding. Banker's coin. I mean, when it comes to an asset, look, Ripple is really, no matter what anyone says, Ripple is really the company behind, XRP that's driving XRP adoption, right? If XRP had smart contracts, you'd have a lot more people building on the XRP ledger, right? I think that's kind of, you look at Solana, you look at Ethereum, the reason they have so much volume and that you have just mounds of money is because you have thousands of people developing and building on the chain. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing when they bring up stuff like XRP. XLM now has smart contracts, right? That's something that's that's happened in like the last 6 months. I think it's called Sarobon or something like that. And so, Dan, do you hold any type of X assets, or are you looking at any type of X assets, XRP, XCC, XLM? I know a lot of people that follow the channels are really bullish on these three asset classes. What are your thoughts?
I was always bullish on these three classes. They each have their own use case in their sector, and I've actually been meaning to buy a nice bag of XRP for over a month now. I go before the bull run really starts kicking in, which I believe is now. So I'm actually planning to get a bag of XRP, but I don't own any. It's interesting about XLM. I didn't even realize, I'm not tuned in, that they have the smart contract. So that makes it very interesting because it could bring a lot of attention to their network. And I've always liked XLM. So definitely going to look at that. But my thoughts on that is, I think like if XRP were to get a lot of traction, XLM and XDC will probably outperform because they'll get attention because XRP makes a move, and they might even outperform XRP, but XRP has to lead. I'm not sure where it's going. I am bullish on it. I'm not fully familiar. It's been quiet for them, like it's the bankers took coins. So my feelings on that is there's definitely a place for it. It's DeFi, and I'm very bullish on DeFi projects.
Yeah.
Last bull run we've had, the Celsius and everything that went down, the Voyagers. Now we still have the Aave kick in, so I have a nice bag in Aave. I'm bullish on Aave, and I like the utilities of swapping utilities, whether it's Uniswap or Jupiter. A small one I'm in is CallSwap. So anything that has to do with managing transactions, movement of funds, it's actual real world use cases. So I am bullish on that ecosystem.
All right, Crypto Billy, you're running the show. People have to bring this up to you all the time. So do you hold XRP, XLM, XCC? What are your thoughts about their future? If so, hit us with it.
Yeah, well, God bless the millennials, because it was my son, who is a millennial, that got me into crypto in 2017. And one of the first things I bought was XRP. I still own it. It's been the largest opportunity cost that I think I've ever made. If I just would have had those funds invested in almost anything else, I think I would have done very, very well back in the beginning days. Yes, I own XRP. Look, I'm not down on XRP. The Ripple does lean a little bit too left for me in some of their statements recently during this election. I don't know if that's to get PR. I don't know if that's sincere and real, how they feel, whatever, but I like to stay in the middle of the road when it comes to crypto. I vote crypto. That's what I'm about. I'm about voting crypto. So whoever is the candidate for crypto, I'm going to be voting for them. So yes, to answer your question, I do own it. I don't have anything against it other than a huge opportunity cost. But at this point in time, I've held on since 17. I'm going to just enjoy the ride and see where it goes. It is one in my ledger.
At this point, there's no sense to not hold it, right?
Right.
I think, you've already done all the time. You've done 7 years. I think hopefully this will expand. Matt, you seem to be very animated behind there, man. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I love Billy's conviction, man. So kudos to you, brother. You're an OG. You're like me, man. You've been in this a long time. So I love your passion to hold the bag and keep rocking. The one thing we go back to Stellar with, and just in the bigger picture, I love what they're doing. I've been a big fan of them for a long, long time, but they are probably one of the better networks that are suited for CBDCs. When we're talking about
Yes.
this is kind of what they were built for, right?
Yep.
And then just not that long ago, I think it was a couple of years ago, our good friends over at the WEEF, everybody loves the WEEF, right? They put out a whole list of their approved cryptos, Algo, which is on there, Stellar, which was on there, a whole bunch of them that were on there. Now, some of them I'm like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. I'm not going to say which ones I'm not a fan of, but I was like, oh, that one needs to be not on that list. But when you look at these ones that WEEF is putting out, because again, they are ESG compliant, there's low cost to them, they scale very easy, they're designed for cross-border payments. So again, Stellar would be another one that when you kind of look at that CBDC world, and I'm not a fan of CBDCs, but I do think, again, I held Stellar all the way from like almost its all-time high at like 80 cents and watch it bleed all the way down to 14. So I'm still a fan, but boy, I don't know if I would get back in on those because I don't know if they're ever going to if Stellar's going to hit that all-time high again.
Man, all right. We should have had a CBDC panel. I don't know what I was thinking.
I'm sorry, man.
So 98% of countries are currently working on CBDCs. It's programmable money. So yes, it's going to have expiration dates. It's going to have all these different things. But, at the end of the day, this is the future of value, right? And so when you're talking about the current money supply, the M2 money supply, I think you have like 20 trillion or $21 trillion floating around the US, right? When you're talking about tokenizing that value, banks tokenizing their own value and having stable coins, I think it's really that's the future of what like Citibank, HSBC, these banks are trying to adopt and approach, right? And if you have a company like Ripple who's making it easier to adopt a CBDC or the technology, right? Because governments inherently are bad at technology design, right?
Usually, they'll let the private sector develop it, and then they'll come in and co-opt it.
That's man. I'm gonna give you the reins. That's exactly.
I think you and I just became best friends. We'll go break boards in the garage later.
I love you, man. So like this really is, in my opinion, like the future. I talk about this a lot on my channel. You can see that I'm very passionate about it, but. Anyways, Dan, your thoughts on X tokens? I don't think I talked to you about this yet, right? So, are you currently holding any of the X tokens? And if so, what's your personal opinion about them?
You've already asked me, but
I did. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm having such a good time.
I need to go buy myself some XLM and XRP, basically.
That's right. Hey, Lady Trader, what do you got on the X tokens?
Yeah, absolutely. All three of them, really. And why wouldn't you, right? These are the top altcoins. When it comes to top 200 altcoins, I have to have those in my portfolio. Always, that's one of the strategies that I deploy because I do think that some of them are going to give really solid returns. You just have to be diversified enough so you can get those returns right across the board. Now, XRP, definitely super bullish on. XDC, I actually met with a team recently and I'm doing some work for them very closely and they are actually building on XDC. So that made me super happy. I was like, yay, finally, somebody's seeing the value there. And so that was very exciting. But yeah, absolutely. I think all three of them have a great potential. XRP has a very, very strong community, right? XRP Army, we love them. And so definitely on my portfolio.
We definitely love the XRP Army here on the channel. Talking about, tokenization and TradeFi, really, where do you see, and I'll come back to you, Lady Trader, on this and we'll work our way backwards, but where do you see the future of this, right? Do you talk with projects all the time? Do you see certain projects or companies tokenizing value to bring on chain? Where do we stand, currently in the markets globally with tokenization of assets?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would encourage everybody to actually watch the recording from our previous session if you haven't actually watched it, because there was so much, so many projects that were there that were very innovative and they're building great stuff. Tokenization, I think, is a thing. And I'm to the point where if I don't see tokenization happening somewhere, it frustrates me. It's like, okay, why is this not tokenized? I was at an event recently for Creed and they just came out with their exclusive fragrance and it was like a limited edition. And I'm like, okay, this could have been tokenized. This event could have been happening in a metaverse. There could have been an NFT that that could have been tied to it. So it's always like, okay, why is not tokenized? Why is this not tokenized? Is always my reaction to something like that. But I think user adoption is definitely happening. It's on a much bigger scale than what we saw back in 2021, and so it's going to be exciting to see how everybody basically adapts to that. And I think one thing that we haven't really talked about when we're talking about crypto gems for 2025 is the NFTs. I mean, that really NFTs really bridge the gaps a lot of times between Web 2 and Web 3, and I think it's a great blockchain sector to keep an eye on. I mean, I have some NFTs on on my collection as well, and so I think that's one sector that everybody needs to keep an eye on, and I think there's some great potential there.
Yeah, I mean, let's go around the table. Crypto Billy, what are your thoughts on NFTs or metaverse tokens? Are you currently holding any, and if so, what are they?
Oh, I'm not only holding them, we are creating them. So part of our Billy Goat Tales is launching a NFT based on our first 30 Twitter X spaces, and we're creating a book. So if you came on stage and you spoke, and we had topics, we've turned that audio into print form into a book. We build a book reader, and if you hold the if you go to our website, billygoatales.io, and you got a speaker pass because you spoke on our X space, then that's kind of like our whitelist. But we're building on the Cardano blockchain. I really came in after my son got me into crypto in 17, just buying it through Coinbase. I bought basically a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, and then a little bit later, a little Litecoin. The next thing I really started exploring from like day one almost was NFTs. I minted my first NFT in 2019, my own NFT in 2019, 2020. But yeah, I probably have 5,000 different NFTs. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, I'm big ADA inmates, apes, mutant apes, bored apes, just you name the project, I probably have some of them. I really believe I like the art. I am an artist myself. I did a lot of art in my life, and so I like the art side of it. I am a little nervous because if you are a ape holder or some of the bigger holders, they've come way down, right? They've taken a real big hit.
Huge hit.
So it does. To Lady Trader's point, I do believe that there's always going to be an ebb and a flow, and they're going to take back off again. But it's been a little nerve wracking with some of the NFTs, no doubt.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you answering that. Dan, what is your thoughts on NFTs and metaverse? Are you holding either metaverse project tokens or NFTs or vice versa? And if so, what are they?
So I do hold some NFTs, not much. They're really small projects. I only hold maybe 6 to 8 NFTs.
Okay.
And metaverses, I don't hold any metaverse plays. I believe for the NFT market, they're definitely going to come back, the cycle. But I believe, it's going to start with the gaming narratives, I believe. There's a really good use case, and AVAX is strong on the gaming narrative. So I'm actually bullish on AVAX, and the gaming will kick back in, have a cycle, and the NFTs will be a part of it. And then, it'll flow into other use cases. As far as giving them real utility, I'd be more bullish, not so much on the artwork or privilege of owning an NFT, but I don't know if we're going to see it in this next year. But where NFTs can be used in the real world for documentation, whether it's passports or a diploma or medical records, birth certificates, I think we're still too far away from that, but I believe there's a real strong use case there. If any of those type of utilities where they can attach an NFT to some other identification, a document, let's say, it can really get traction for user adoption if some real world use cases happen that way. And there'll always be the arts. So, but metaverses, I think the gaming has to kick in, and then maybe the metaverse plays will be merged. It's a hybrid a lot of times, So yeah, I think we're going to have a strong gaming cycle. It was kind of crazy in 2021, so I think hopefully it's going to evolve and get stronger in 2025.
I think in 2021, a lot of companies were talking big about the metaverse and talking about putting out metaverse projects, but I think everybody pretty much failed at the metaverse or what they were promising. That they were going to deliver to people. I think people were like, they bought into these projects, and then when they got delivered what the metaverse looked like, they were like, "Is this really what we paid for?" Right? Like, Calvin, what are your thoughts, man? Are you holding any NFTs, any metaverse tokens or projects? What do you got?
Yeah, so you guys will think this is funny, but I was actually paying attention back in 2017 when the first metaverse Decentraland was rolling out. And I was like, whoa, this is new. This is something that we haven't seen in crypto yet. So I got really excited about it. And I put like $50,000 into the original auction. And I just bought everything I could. Like I kind of bought land in a couple of decent spots, but then I just didn't care. I like grabbed as much as I could humanly possibly get, just knowing that a lot of that I'd let go of. Well, I kind of hung on to it for 4 years. It wasn't until Mark Zuckerberg changed his name to Meta. I was like, if that is not a top signal, I've never seen one in my life.
I remember that.
I sold all of the stuff on the periphery. I kept all the main ones, but it was unbelievable. Like I think I made over like $1.5 million off of that change, like going from just holding for 4 years and waiting for the market to come to the right place. I doubt the best stuff that I have now is even worth close to that because everything's come down. But it's just kind of one of those things. Like I like to buy. This is my philosophy with altcoins and everything else, is that everything's an option. If you buy it thinking this could go to full zero or it could go many multiples up, and you just buy little bits of everything, and especially during a bull market like we're sitting in, and you'll be surprised what could happen. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So ever since then, I never really bought any other NFTs or anything. It was just kind of those. It was kind of the novelty. The new thing is always the right thing. And then you kind of have to, all the copycats and everything that comes after is usually you're usually exit liquidity. So I haven't really gotten much into it after that.
Man, you have some of the best timing in the world, man, to turn 50K into $1.5 million in just a few years. What an excellent return, man, and well deserved. Calling the top on that, man. I remember when Zuckerberg did that, and it like the whole world went crazy, like especially in crypto. Everyone was just going insane, and you called the right top, man. So well done, well deserved. Matt, are you bullish on the metaverse NFTs? Currently holding anything? What's going on?
I'm bullish on the non-sexy NFTs, like Dan was saying. I really think the use case there is for more identification. Again, I call them the non-sexy NFTs. I do think gaming will probably have to lead it back this next cycle. I do think there's a lot of other great companies out there that are working in the NFT sector, so I would probably defer to them. But man, it's got to be hard seeing what you paid for a couple ETH for your Bored Ape, but now it's not even worth that. So boy, again, it's such a roller coaster out there, and that's why, again, for me, and I keep defaulting to my OG maxi. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm a Bitcoin supremacist because I'm not toxic, but I'm smart enough to use other assets to help acquire more Bitcoin. So I'm totally fine with that and using and staking XRP or XLM or whatever it is I need to do to get the sats, right? So I think, though, back to your question, Sensei, I do think it comes back. I do think it's led by the gaming, but I really think, like Dan said, to Dan's point, I think the bigger use case where we're really going to see real world traction is those non-sexy NFTs. I really, for one, wow, what about voter ID? It could be on the blockchain. And I know that it's been experimented with in West Virginia back in 2015 or 2017. So there have been pilot programs out there that does work.
No, I think crypto can solve a lot of different issues that we're currently dealing with right now in our lives, and that'll probably be for Summit Round 2 where we have discussion.
If I could, Sensei, one last comment. I know we're getting short on time, but one thing that I would like to submit to the panel and just for the conversation is, as we move forward from 2025, we're talking about the bull market and things. One piece that is kind of floating in my mind is I think there's going to be a greater sense of awareness and adoption this time as we get closer to 2028, and folks are going to understand what the halving means. So BlackRock and Fidelity and all these people that are coming in buying ETFs now and they're going through this, they're going to understand, like, holy crap, we've got to prepare because this is going to get cut down again from 3.125. So I think there's something there that maybe, again, I hate saying this time it's different. And the other piece that's really important is just recently we saw BNY Mellon getting the green light to custody Bitcoin. I think we're going to see a lot more TradFi places like Bank of America. I saw documentation from the OCC and the FDIC put out back in 2021 where they outlined how to putting up guardrails or guidelines of how to custody Bitcoin, how to issue loans against Bitcoin, and how to do stablecoin. So all of this is coming, and I think that also could really change the dynamic of where things go in the next few years. So I'm not sure if we're going to see a massive 80% drawback after September. We might see some drawback, but I think more people are going to be kind of like, hey, there's another halving right around the corner.
Hey, I'm so glad you said that. Actually, we're not, this is our final panel of the day, so we're not in any rush to get out of here. So I'm glad you kind of stepped in and said all that you needed to say. Just want to come back to Calvin. I know you're kind of in a rush there. You're heading into the spot. So what are your final thoughts for Crypto Gems 2025? Any final comments? This has been one of our more popular spaces of the day. So, feel free to take your time. You're not in any rush. We don't have another space after this. Oh, you're on mute, Calvin.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're good.
I just am really excited for this upcoming bull market. We've already had an amazing run from up to March. Everything was phenomenal. So we're getting close. I think we're about to break out, and we're going to have one heck of an all season, and we're going to have 6 months of up only, and then it's up to us to take advantage of that. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we've finally gone through the pain portion of this section, and I think our breakout's coming really soon here.
I love it, Calvin. Thank you so much for being on both panels today. We really appreciate you coming back to Crypto Billy. Final thoughts for the day, man. Crypto Gems 2025. Any tokens? Any final thoughts? You have more than enough time, so take it if you need it.
Well, yeah, just going back to the NFT, I'm pretty sure in California they are already putting either the driver's license or license plates or something like that on NFTs. So that's pretty cool to see. That's a great real world use case for NFTs. And when you get into the whole medical field and medical records, I can just see it: property, medical records, licenses, things like that. Going to be a good use case for NFTs. As far as gems, look, I know it's an old dog, right? But BNB is up the most this year, January 1, 78%. I'm pretty sure it's number one. I think BNB coin is something that I'm definitely holding and going to hold more of. I think it's got great use case, right? It's a well-known, it's a blue chip basically. So I think even though it's an older token, I think that's a nice gem to hold on to. Yet still I think there's still plenty of room to run for BNB. I can see BNB hitting $1,000 for sure.
Yeah.
So that's one that I'd put out there to the community.
Nobody brought up AVAX too in the panel. I thought that was interesting too. Thank you for that, Crypto Billy. We really appreciate you being here, guys. Follow Crypto Billy. Does this talk? I need to come be a speaker on your.
Yeah, man, we'll get you on. We'll definitely get you on.
I'll do that. All right, Dan. Final thoughts of the day, man. Any assets you haven't mentioned or whatever your final thoughts are, please take your time.
AVAX, I did mention. I think AVAX gaming plays on that ecosystem is going to have a nice run. I'm seeing a lot of recent chatter about it, and I think once there's one large game, that'll be a catalyst for all the other smaller games. So that's something to keep an eye on, I believe. As far as what I'm bullish on gems is really, I try to find the lower startup gems that are mostly on ETH. Why? Because ETH has the ETF, so there'll be a constant inflow of liquidity, and because these ETH pairs have very low liquidity pool ratios, they blow up, right? So as long as ETH does well and you're in a decent asset that's high risk, you can get some huge gains if you want to play that game. And I see it, I see the next 6 months as being very bullish in general. But BSC, I believe, is a great player. And another reason also I'm very bullish on ETH plays is because of the base ecosystem, which is a competitor to BSC. BSC was huge in 2021, but now it's going to compete with Base, in my opinion. And Base is just using ETH. So there's going to be more ETH liquidity. So that's why I'm very bullish on ETH. With the ETFs, with Base coming in strong, the lower caps ETH plays that are not really on exchanges yet and just paired with mostly ETH liquidity pool pairs, they're going to blow up. and the AVAX gaming system. So those are some I'm watching up, but a lot of it is the rest is really some blue chips and lower cap, high risk plays. I'm kind of like playing all angles.
You see Ethereum hitting 5 figures, over 10,000 in this cycle?
I believe it should hit right around at least 10K minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say around 10K. You know, you can be conservative and say, you know, maybe 8K, 9K,
Yeah.
but because of, you know, I see so many blockchains out there. There's so much competition, so it might be hard. You know, Solana's wild. And, you know, there's also a Unicrypt who's launching a layer 2 called Unichain. And Unicrypt is huge. They have a lot of liquidity at their disposal. So who knows if this layer 2 can do something. So there's going to be a lot of competition. It's kind of tricky for ETH, but again, ETH has the ETFs. It has where all the liquidity is, and a lot of plays are on the ETH, the ecosystem. They start there. So, yeah.
Appreciate that, Dan. Thank you so much, Matt.
Dan, I hope you're right. But just 2 days ago, CoinDesk was talking here. ETH ETFs have seen 0 flows for 2 days in a row. So I'm not sure how much liquidity is flowing in to those ETH ETFs. I hope for your sake more does come in, but that was just reported 2 days ago by CoinDesk. So I hope that, you know, maybe that does change. I think the Solana ETF probably will actually once, I know that was kind of pulled back, but it's still on file, and Van Eck is working with that. So I think that again, the community with Solana, that there's probably a lot there. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they get that ETF approval or not. And just for the gems for the year, maybe they're not gems. I think a lot of people probably know about them. Boy, my bag of Sui looking pretty good today.
Yep.
Okay, liking some Sui. Got me some Render. Got me some Tezos as well. So you know, a little bit of Litecoin. But yeah, I would be concerned about watching those ETH ETF flows, though, Dan. I hope, again, for your sake, they do pick up. I know that folks are developing there. So just a little piece of caution for you, friend. That's all.
Well said. And Matt, did you have any closing things that you would like to say?
Stay safe, stack sats, and hodl. Dollar cost average. Not your keys, not your coin. You know the deal.
I love it. And write your security phrase down and put it in a safe place.
I will do that next time. Thank you.
Anytime you're going boating, just that's the first thing you should do. Thank you for being here, Matt. We appreciate you. Lady Trader, closing thoughts. Anything you haven't mentioned, please go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Algorand is one ecosystem that I'm super bullish on. You and I just had a spaces with them yesterday. I mean, you heard it, I heard it. I think they're doing a great job, especially supporting some of the projects that are building on. Like the way that this blockchain works so closely with projects and founders, it's just crazy. And so I definitely see some good adoption coming up for Algorand. So super bullish on them, of course. SBTs is something that we didn't talk about. We did talk about NFTs, but what you were mentioning earlier, Crypto Billy, like, you know, driver's licenses and those kind of things on chain, you know, those are non-transferable NFTs and actually soul-bound tokens, basically. And so I'm going to see more. I think we are going to see a lot more adoption for that. And soul-bound tokens, I mean, we are already seeing with Forbes Web3. That's the community that you know, is curated for Web3 professionals. I'm part of that community, working very closely with Forbes Web3 team, and they have an SBT already. And so I think there's going to be more and more communities like that in Web3 that are going to be you know, coming up, and they'll have soul-bound tokens. And I do also believe that we need to keep an eye out for any new projects that are going to support soul-bound tokens, because that would be the big one. I think that's the alpha for me. I know there are definitely blockchains that are already supporting soul-bound tokens, but you know, whatever builds the infrastructure to support it even more or take it further, I think it's going to be the biggest alpha that we have yet seen, because the user adoption for soul-bound token, it is going to get bigger as we enter this next bull run. But this was great. One final thought I have, also really an advice for anyone, especially if you're starting new in crypto. This is coming from, like, you know, over 10 years of experience in the traditional finance market, plus crypto, plus everything else. Stay in the game, which means, you know, don't lose your money, don't over leverage. I haven't even done a leverage play in so long, it's crazy. And it's just like, okay, no need to do that. But of course, if you're a smaller trader, you need to do that to kind of grow your portfolio, right? For those
Yeah.
of us who've been in the markets for so long, we don't do that. But if you are playing any kind of leverage trades, make sure that you are taking into consideration risk management, because you're only going to be able to make money if you stay in the game. If you're out of the game, it's not going to be helpful. And it also means diversifying enough to where you're not just putting all of your money into one meme coin with the hope of it, giving you the next 2000x. That's not going to happen in most cases. And so just be cautious out there and protect your assets, guys. Like, there are so many scams happening right now. Drainer links, all of these things. So just be cautious, protect your assets, be cautious. And then, of course, risk management. Those are some of my advice for this bull run.
I you couldn't have said it better. I wanted to just really quickly, before we end here today, tomorrow kicking off at 4 p.m. Eastern time, we have the AI panel followed by altcoins and how to get into projects early to finish off Saturday. And on Sunday, we have a 2-hour XRP and tokenization special followed by blue trips you should watch out for. Guys, thank you so much for making one of the better panels of the day. We have Crypto Billy, Dan, Calvin Waite, Matt Case, and of course the great Lady Trader Ra, who is my co-host. Thank you guys so much for watching. This wraps up day 1 of the Cryptonairz KOL Summit. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your thoughts. I think what I'm getting here is the crypto market's about to take off and do some insane moves. Make sure that you listen to the space clearly and you get into some of the plays mentioned by our panel here. Do your own research. Help yourself. Join a community. These are probably some of the best pieces of advice that I can give you. There's only so many things you can do yourself. But if you have hundreds of other people that are all chasing the same dream as you, you can get a lot more done, is in my experience. Thank you so much to the panel. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow. Fresh, thank you so much. And aloha from Hawaii. Take care, guys. Thank you so much. All right, that's it.